Chillicothe businessman is experimenting by building homes, not with concrete, but with steel.
He believes it's more carbon friendly and more affordable for those looking to buy a home. Sam Matheny with more.
Tyler, Janice, while it's a newer concept, Eagle Company's Timothy Tobin says buying a home with steel is a good option for those who don't want to pay big money for a traditional home. The price of this steel home with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms is only $155,000 approximately, including sewer and water hookups. He says using steel rather than concrete creates a tighter seal that blocks outside air from coming in. That means the heat and cold air generated inside recirculates for lower energy use and a reduced carbon footprint. Materials like particle board and foam insulation aren't used either. Instead, it's wool insulation here, and only 15% of the home is made with lumber.
We want to stay with the grid, but we want to reduce our dependency on that grid down 70%. And we can do that. We can use different materials to get there.
And he's not sure that his business will be the one to really take off and corner the steel home market, but he hopes it will be talked about in schools, showing more energy efficient ways to own a home. Tobin tells me the steel comes from Nucor in North Carolina, but only one of these homes has actually been built so far, and they're also powered by solar energy.